Hi, I'd like to welcome you to the second video of my video channel, Let's Meet in the Middle and Talk. This second video has some connection to my first video, which talked about an order to close all schools in Dane County, Wisconsin in grades 3 through 12 and force them to go virtual. I don't plan on all my videos being on these school topics, but for the time being, because it's pretty pertinent in our community, in our county, I may talk about a few these topics a few more times. One of the things in talking to the leadership of Dane County and reaching out to them, they responded that Public Health in Madison and Dane County is taking a cautious approach. Okay, which you'd have to watch my first video to understand how is it taking a cautious approach when you can have childcare in a group of 15 students and 2 adults, 17 people in a room, but you can't have that in a school setting. So all the students in a classroom can go over to a daycare, same group of students, and that's okay. But here's one of the things that I didn't talk about in the first video, which I think is very important. One of the things in Dane County, and quite honestly, I don't know if it's probably not just Dane County. In our overall reaction to COVID as a country, and I realize it's an interesting situation, an unprecedented situation, so there's not a roadmap for all these things. But one of the things that I think we are ignoring is the social, emotional, and mental health of the students and children and how this is affecting them. Dane County says they're taking a conservative approach. Normally, I think that's a great idea, but some of the numbers that I think are interesting, since this began in Dane County, since COVID began, there has been a total of 16 children from the ages of 0 to 17 being hospitalized throughout this whole pandemic. 16 students from probably March, when I guess it was officially in the county, to now, to August 28th, there's been 16 students hospitalized, or children from age 0 to 17. Now, I'm not trying to discount that, and I'm not trying to say that that's not those students who are, I feel bad for those kids who had to be hospitalized. Thankfully, none of them died. But here's the fact of the matter. 16 students maybe have been in the hospital, but thousands of students in Dane County have been negatively affected by this. Last spring, when classes were canceled, thousands of students' mental, social, emotional health was negatively affected. The same thing's happening now. Now, I realize that it's an unprecedented situation. And I understand why some schools don't feel that they are allowed to open or can open in a safe manner. But for those schools who do think that they can open, why are they being prevented from doing so? Here's what I kind of liken it to. I don't know how many videos I'm going to end up making, but if I do make videos, I'm going to probably use analogies. And here's the analogy I'm going to use. Imagine there's a child in a cabin in the woods, okay? And there's a forest fire coming. And the adult in the room looks out the window and you see the forest fire is coming from all 3 sides, and it's collapsing onto the cabin, putting the child's life in danger. Now imagine the adult looks out and where the door is, there's an opening. Now imagine that same adult deciding, you know what, I'm not going to send you out because there's a chance that you could get attacked by a bear. I know it's a ridiculous analogy, but think about that. Would you keep a child in a cabin where imminent danger is coming, you know it's going to come because there is the slight possibility that at some point a bear could attack them. I realize most analogies, any analogies, that analogy I just shared with you, it's not perfect. But think about that. Because of what could possibly happen with COVID, with children, we are preventing schools from meeting. Yet, we're ignoring the fact that students are being negatively affected. Their mental, social, emotional health has been negatively affected. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the CDC, has came out earlier this summer and said, if at all possible, with using safe guidelines, students, it will be best for their overall health for them to be in school. And I realize there are still risks, because I realize there's adults and there's other things taken into account. But if a school can do it safely, why are we not allowing them to reach out and to help these kids? The fact of the matter is, parents have choices, or they should have choices. If a family is not comfortable sending their child, that's fine. Virtual options, schools have been planning all summer for possible virtual options. But for families who, whether through a work schedule or they know their child, what's best for their child, that if an in-person education is best for their child's overall well-being, why are we not allowing that to happen? I think we can do it smartly. I think we can do it wisely. Why are we not allowing that to happen? And here's one of another challenge, I think. Not every child comes from a stable home. And part of it could be just the parents have to work to make ends meet, and they're not home while these children are supposed to be doing virtual learning. But interestingly enough, and I just want to read this, one of the executive order, and it talks about all individuals, and it's right up in the top of the executive order that comes out, and it says this: individuals whose homes or residences are unsafe or become unsafe, such as victims of domestic violence, are urged to leave their home and stay at a safe alternative location. PHMDC, you came out with this. That's great for adults. Children don't have that option. How are children going to just determine that they are going to go to a safe alternative location? For many students in our communities throughout the country, school is where they feel safest for various reasons. Yet we're taking that option away for parents. We're taking that option away for families. And most importantly, we're taking that option away for students who are the most vulnerable. We talk about doing this for the students' health and taking a cautious approach. I really think we're doing the opposite. What we are doing is ignoring what is staring us in the face. The mental, social, and emotional needs of our children right now are being negatively affected. And where's the end game, Dane County? These metrics that you came out with, and you haven't really let us know when they might be lifted. These metrics of testing positive being the main metrics. This does not, if this goes on all year, just think about the damage that's going to be done to students. And I realize there's risks involved in sending a child to in-person learning. But let parents make that decision to look at the only to determine if we're keeping kids safe is whether or not they get sick, and which I pray that they don't. But think about it, 16 students have been hospitalized with this since this began, ages 0 to 17. Yet we're ignoring the fact that thousands of students and children in this one county, Dane County, Wisconsin, their overall health is being put at risk. So I really hope that calmer heads prevail, and this executive order can be overturned, and we as a community can find ways to meet the needs of those who are the most vulnerable. Because everything that's come out, I don't see that. I don't really see how we are going to do that. And finally, one little other thing. Part of this order, and it is not okay for students with special needs to go to schools for in-person instruction. Special needs students are going to be prevented. Now, if you need therapy or something like that, they will allow for that. But just students with special needs who virtual learning does not work, they cannot come to a school and to get in-person help according to this order. Yet, that same student can go to a childcare or can go to another location where childcare is provided, but we're not meeting their educational needs. We're not meeting their special needs. Let's meet in the middle and talk. If you have good reasons why we're ignoring the mental health, the social health, the emotional health of students, let me know. Write it down, share your thoughts down below. But for the students, we need to become advocates for them. And we can't just stand by and say, you know what, we're going to keep you in this log cabin because a bear might get you, when they're about to be engulfed in flames. So I don't mean to make light using that analogy, but I think it bears some truth. So let's meet in the middle and talk. Student health. Why are we ignoring overall student health? Until next time, thanks for watching the video, and see you soon when we meet in the middle and talk.